edition of Bum Talk, episode 25. That's right, episode quarter 25 of Bum Talk. Happy Monday to all, and happy everyone to Game of Thrones series finale. I'm wearing my Game of Thrones hat, even though I'm not a fan. My co-host in the house here,
Danny Bums, what's up?
Danny Bums, and we got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
And we just watched the opening promo for Raw, so we figured WWE is the best to open up with. So Danny Bums, I'm gonna throw the ball to you, like if you're Seth Curry.
Well, it was great to see WWE back from. I like that they took some time off between this one and the last
5 weeks, I think, right?
And the last pay-per-view, which is their biggest one of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool. Hold on, I'm trying to figure this out again. Yeah. And it was good. I like that they took some time with it. They didn't rush it, and glad to see them back.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Okay, glad to see them back. It was pretty good. A pretty good pay-per-view
Overall, solid.
Good. It was some decent wrestling. I think the AJ fight with Seth was amazing.
AJ versus Seth.
Considered a contender for fight of the year, match of the year, wrestling match of the year.
And Michael Cole, and I don't tend to agree with Michael Cole. He always has these funny facts, but when the match started, he goes, these are probably the best in the ring wrestlers in the world, and they are
Currently, probably, yeah.
Yeah, currently. And granted,
I expected to see better at the Grand G1 Supercard, but that was very disappointing.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Their style is very different, like Danny Bones mentioned.
You said they were incorporating a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah, like the elbow strikes and everything, like not MMA, but like more physical.
Yeah.
New Japan's more physical to say, so it was kind of like a similarity to like New Japan wrestling.
And both of them are just such incredible performers.
Especially AJ at his age. Like AJ just gets like wine.
Yeah.
It sounds cliche, I know, but he just gets better and better every year. And I love this AJ. I mentioned to you yesterday that since the first brand split back in 2016, when we got back to wrestling, he was on SmackDown for 3 years up until this year.
Yeah,
and I love
he made, because when he came, they that's around the time when they started doing the live SmackDowns.
Yes,
that's when they introduced SmackDown Live.
Yes.
So he literally built SmackDown Live.
And he said a couple times, again, it sounds cliche.
Because I think of the 3 years, I think he's probably had the longest combined title reigns. Even with the U.S. champ.
Correct. You're absolutely correct.
That was literally he probably
had a belt.
It sounds biased because I'm a big AJ fan, but he built SmackDown.
Well,
Live.
He said it right. I mean, it's cliche, but he goes, the house that AJ Styles built.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said it when he went to Raw. He's like, I built SmackDown.
Yeah, to what it is now.
So yeah, and AJ was there for it's been that long. It's been 3 years. He's been there.
He's been with the company for over 3 years.
Yeah, January 2016. I remember that match. When we got back to wrestling, we saw him. But yeah, that was the match of the night. On the other side, what do you think of the Becky Lynch back-to-back fights? That was
a little crazy. I wasn't. That was a little sad thing apart.
Because me and Danny were talking, we're like, okay, if she's fighting for one belt now, then she'll probably fight, a couple matches later for the other belt. But
yeah, so this is end of an era.
About 5 weeks, right? More or less.
It was great seeing her. She was amazing.
Becky 2 belts, right?
Becky 2 belts. She successfully defended both belts in the first match against Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans for the Raw, yes.
Right, and then all of a sudden, apparently,
you hear the music,
Charlotte Flair had the
music clicks off and you hear
has this. He has like a right where she can challenge her for the title, which was whatever. And then whatever. I mean, she won.
But there's always a but in wrestling.
That's right, because
there's always little asterisks in wrestling.
I completely forgot. Like the pay-per-view started with the women's Money in the Bank.
First match was I know I wasn't here when I got home.
And look who won.
I'm not a big fan of Bayley. I really am not.
Bayley is your 2019
Bayley in the Bank
winner.
Bayley in the Bank. And
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Fast cashing.
Yeah, so then obviously Charlotte was a 9th-time world champion, and then she cashed it in, and I kind of like how I like that justice for Becky.
Yes, it kind of justify. Yeah, like justice is the best way to put it. Yeah, like okay, she lost a belt, but then Charlotte lost it like maybe 10 minutes
so
later.
I'm happy for her. And then what other? But I mean, that's the end of an era. I mean, the thing is, I said it like that whole feud with Ronda, and her becoming the two champs, having the 2 belts, main eventing WrestleMania, winning, that made her into a superstar.
Global superstar. And
that's a lot in part with Ronda Rousey. Like, her job was to come here and help make these girls into...
Absolutely correct about that, Danny Bums. That's something that people don't really talk about.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's great. Look who Becky is now.
Yeah, and I told you this last year. This whole Becky thing started actually before Survivor Series. It started at SummerSlam 2018. Remember the triple threat match between Carmella, Charlotte, and Becky, and then Becky got screwed over because Charlotte won. Because I think originally it was supposed to be Carmella versus Becky, but then Charlotte got herself in the triple threat match, and then remember Becky slapped her, beat her up at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So that started the momentum, which led to SummerSlam. That famous picture, with the blood in her face, and with the.
I mean Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah. But this run of Becky Lynch has been phenomenal. I'll go back from from August 2018 till May 2019. So it was.
Yeah, it was good stuff. It was good stuff.
And like I mentioned, and it happens a lot in wrestling because there's so much talent. It's easy to get lost in the shuffle. I told you that I believe Becky was the first SmackDown Women's Champion when they did the brand split back in 2016, and then she went quiet for 2 years. She was just quiet, oh, okay, she was there. But then Becky really, I mean, it happens in WWE. You get lost in the shuffle easily. There's so much talent. You can get buried easily in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. But look at her now. She's,
like you said, global superstar.
The biggest women. I think she's easily, her and Ronda are the biggest women wrestlers in all of professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fair enough. Obviously, you can include Charlotte because of the legacy. But like you said,
that win was it for her. Yeah, and I'm happy for her. I hope she has a long reign as Raw's champion.
Now, do you think that...
No, it made sense. I mean, if she's going to drop a title, she'll drop the SmackDown one.
That's true.
Because Raw is Raw.
Because the plans were that eventually that Becky will go on Raw. That was the plan originally. Do you think we could see a 2-belt again for women's divisions?
Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what they want to do next WrestleMania.
Vince always changes stuff.
So we'll see.
And we'll talk about Vince changing stuff.
And then we have the main event. There's other matches that I really didn't care for.
I mean, Kofi and Daniel Bryan was okay. It was good, but it was in a bad order because AJ and Seth did much better than it.
Right. Okay.
I saw it. I guess I'll do Dave Meltzer style. I'll give that 4 stars. Kofi versus Kevin Owens out of 5 stars, and then I'll give 5 stars to AJ versus Seth.
That's a lot of stars for a match that was mediocre. You say?
That wasn't mediocre. Like I said, the Kevin Owens and Kofi Kingston match was really good, but it was in a bad place because it got overtaken by AJ versus Seth. It was a good match overall, but it was bad. It was bad order. I think personally bad order.
Right.
But yeah. So Danny Bones, you're saying the main event of Money in the Bank last night?
Yeah. So early in the pay-per-view, Sami Zayn was out. He got attacked, believed to be Braun Strowman. He had a really good promo with Triple H. It was fun.
I missed that. Right. Yeah.
It was fun. Sami's great.
What was he complaining about? Because I wasn't here.
He said something about I forgot. That was hey, because he heard that Braun was in the building.
Oh, he's afraid.
He was just really scared. He said, hey, can we do something about that?
And
then he's like, that's not my problem.
Triple H answer. Very non-political.
He was on the phone. And then so I guess WWE, had I watched the pay-per-view, I would have smelled them like they're not. Someone should have seen it a mile away, because they never announced an official. Right, and I think there was a tweet that had I seen, I would have put it all together. Someone tweeted during the pay-per-view that Brock was spotted in the building. I'm like, boom, there you go.
There you go.
Add all the pieces up.
Okay.
So then, who was in the?
So as it's a 8-man Money in the Bank, 4 SmackDown, 4 Raw.
Great fight, great match too.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, and then Andrade.
And almost killed each other. It's the small guys: Finn Balor, Ali, Ricochet. Small. Kind of cruiserweight to say.
These are these are people that are gonna put that. They're the future of that business of that WWE.
Yes, absolutely correct. I like it because it was a mix of veterans. You had Randy Orton, you had Drew McIntyre, and then you have the newcomers: Ricochet, Andrade, Finn Balor, Ali, and then you had the veteran Randy Orton, like I mentioned, and Baron Corbin, who's been in his match and won it 2 years ago. So it's a good mix of new guys, veterans, and then guys in between. So I like the match. I especially like that. The small guys were there, like I said, Finn Balor, Ricochet, and Ali are small guys. They're gonna be cruiserweights, but they're not because they're big stars.
Yeah.
But the match was ridiculous. They showed the highlights today.
Yeah, great, crazy stuff I saw on my phone.
The moonsault and everything was just ridiculous. Yeah. But back to what Danny Bones was alluding, obviously Sami Zayn was he was hanging from like a cage or something, rope, and then Triple H thought it was Braun. Then he asked Braun professionally, "I'm kicking you out of the arena," and that left everybody wondering who's the eighth guy. And honestly, I was watching the match. She was watching Game of Thrones series finale. I forgot about the eighth man all the time. I really did. Like, because the commentator didn't mention anything about it.
That was all they're playing the whole time, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's back because we all know he's back from not coming back to MMA. The Beast, Brock Lesnar, one of the greatest combat athletes of all time. This for Brock Lesnar fans, the Brock Lesnar fan in me loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But the wrestling fan in me was like, and you know, Chris Jericho tweeted it out perfectly. He said really sarcastically, "Wow, this is a great, you know, he's the future of the business." He's basically saying like, "You're gonna shit on all these kids that are in that fight."
There you go. The Ricochet.
An opportunity to put them over.
And like I mentioned a few weeks ago, a report was leaked that WWE, at least this time, didn't want to drop the ball with the Money in the Bank winner because the last two, Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman, their cash-ins did not work at all. It was
but when it's Brock Lesnar, it's gonna happen.
Absolutely
so he's
correct.
Probably most likely, or maybe Vince will give the fans justice and have him fail at that. Who knows?
That too, or is Vince saying "f you" to the fans like always? You know,
Yeah, he likes to do that.
It's like I told Danny Bum. It's like Dr. Evil. He has like the red missile button, and instead Vince has like the Brock Lesnar button. Like,
yeah, boom, that's
come
it.
over here.
Comes.
But yeah, I mentioned you. I saw some kind of tweet that someone spotted Brock Lesnar, and it's funny because I've read tweets today saying that people have very little knowledge of him being in the arena. They try to hit him the whole time, but obviously, you know, in the golden age of social media, everything gets leaked out now.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
But I thought Ali was gonna win because I caught Ali going up, and then Brock Lesnar comes out like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, the Brock Lesnar fan in me loved it. The wrestling fan hated it, especially in. Like
you said, Chris Jericho summed it up correctly, and then Mike Coppinger also from ESPN Boxing, I believe.
Fox
Boxing.
He hasn't made it yet.
I understand what you mean. So from a WWE creative standpoint,
Mike said it perfectly. It's just so wacky.
It doesn't make sense. The whole point of Money Bank is to build the next star, or at least for the next months. You know, go give him a run.
I would have been so cool for Ali. I love that.
I thought Ali would probably got the push. I really thought Ali was gonna get the push. Obviously Finn Balor and Andrade have their beef, so not them. I thought maybe McIntyre because he had beef with Seth Rollins last year with the whole Dean Ambrose thing. But overall,
but it's stuff like that, you know. Vince has to just put everything in fifth or sixth gear because of
competition.
The competition, and then hasn't been as high in probably over 20 years.
And then I think I told you today, Stephanie McMahon apparently had a meeting today with a bunch of WWE officials, and she kind of directly said that AEW is competition for WWE.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know what's disgusting? The wrestling business and boxing business are disgusting where they don't work with each other. Boxing they do.
Yeah, co-promotion sometimes, you know.
Yeah, but like when big fights are needs to be made.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like with wrestling, or at least not just WWE.
Well,
they're the ones. They don't acknowledge anyone else.
They don't. They do not.
At least everyone else works together.
Yeah, like example, Ring of Honor in New Japan, they work there a couple times.
Or at least not that, but at least they'll have like wrestlers fight in different promotions.
Absolutely correct. Yes, you see a lot. New Japan, Ring of Honor have always
like Chris Jericho. So it's ridiculous. It's like why, but I mean at the same way that's also worked for them. That's the reason why WWE's where they're at now. They are a global brand.
It has.
Their biggest show of the year is bidded by cities.
Yeah, like Super Bowl.
So you know that's worked for them. Same thing as a boxing business. As annoying as it can be. With all these promoters and all these world title governing bodies, at the same time, it's also worked for them because that's gotten them.
They build their brand. They're successful.
That's the way.
So it's kind of like they're like divide and conquer, kind of to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like okay, all right, fair enough.
It's like, and I hate to. It's like with Game of Thrones, you know. People are
Kingdoms.
obsessed about like. I think when people wanted a certain ending, it's like the one guy who plays Sir Davos. He goes like if we can get the ending and wrap it in a bow tie and give it to you, it's like give you the ending you want. Like no one's ever really gonna be like basically what I'm trying to say is like Game of Thrones' success have been on not giving the fans what they wanted.
Because imagine if you did give people the
if you would have watched season 1. if you're in the middle of season 1 and they asked you want us to kill Ned Stark, everyone's gonna say no.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens at the end of season 1? They chop off his head.
And season 1, yeah, I remember that. I saw it with you.
It's like that. They going back to boxing and WWE
Mm-hmm.
and Game of Thrones. They've made their success for Game of Thrones. They've made their success surprising people, not giving people what they want. Same as boxing WWE. It's a weird analogy. It's just a thought I had in my head today while I was driving back from work. It's just, but just like, you know, it's annoying WWE's like that. But again, they're at where they're at because of that model. Same thing as boxing. It's even more annoying with boxing because boxing is a professional sport.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it is a successful industry, and that they're at where they're at because of that. So that's my thoughts.
You know what? I guess I never thought about that. Like you're absolutely correct. If you give the fans what they want, then then there's no point of going on no more. You gotta keep going on. Teasing them or backstabbing
and in
fans.
a way, like with boxing, like, and maybe that somewhat has worked for boxing is delaying fights.
Yeah,
because that only makes, when the fight does come to fruition, it only makes it bigger.
The hype, the suspense, the time, whether it's months or days or whatever.
And obviously you don't get that in the UFC, but maybe that's why no one in the UFC is like, maybe one or two people are mega stars. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just, it's
a business at the end of the day.
Different models work for different businesses.
And like you said, it's a business at the end of the day. And like you said, if you give the fans what they want, then there's no point of continuing or watching or engaging fans. So it's a good point.
If you give the fans what you want, it's going to eliminate a lot of competition.
Hypotheticals too, obviously. That's another thing, especially in sports.
Out of the way, right away.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan. I never really thought about it that.
Whatever business you're in, it's just every business has its own different model. When it comes to boxing, MMA, and even professional wrestling.
Or any other kind of sport, yeah. That's a good point. But going back to WWE, so since we opened with WWE, Monday Night Raw basically just kicked off before we started recording. And Danny Bum, we were watching. Brock Lesnar came out with the Money in the Bank contract, and he teased Seth Rollins and both Kofi Kingston to cash in the contract on either opponent. But we'll see how long this plays out. We'll see whenever Brock cashes in the Money in the Bank. Because the problem with Brock is he's not there every Monday, so we don't know when.
The next one is the one in Saudi Arabia, right?
June, that's the rumor I've read today. Maybe June 7th, because Seth Rollins doesn't have an official match yet for
No, I mean WWE's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in June, the real one, right?
Stomping Grounds, yeah.
When is that?
I believe end of June, because this is like early June.
Okay, so then it's obviously they're promoting the Saudi Arabia one, so I guess that's the focus for now.
Yep.
And Brock is there? He's fighting?
No one knows yet. So tonight they're going to announce like more matches at the Super Showdown.
And we also have that new title, right? Mick Foley.
Yeah, so we spoke about this. We thought it's Mick Foley. It should be the hardcore title, which makes sense. He's the king of the hardcores. And then I read a tweet before we started recording that it's supposed to be something called the Legends Champion belt, which alludes probably to.
I think I would love it for it to be the hardcore. And again, this is for me. This is WWE going full throttle. And to be honest, WWE's been pretty freaking entertaining this year.
For the most part,
ever since the McMahons came out and said blah 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 blah. Whatever.
I agree to a certain extent.
Late last year.
It's gotten much better. But like you said, they are facing competition out there. Obviously. Not just All Elite, the rise in Japan and America has gotten very big, obviously, thanks to All Elite Wrestling. Ring of Honor has always been some kind of competition to them, and also Impact to a certain extent. So, like you said, like, it's no pun, but like Danny Bum mentioned, they're going 5th, 6th gear with this stuff. They're just, just flying in, they're throwing all their eggs in the baskets, but
yeah.
They can do it, the WWE. And I've said this, and Jim Ross said it too in an interview. If you're AEW, you cannot compete with WWE directly. You can't do what WCW did 20 years ago. You compete with them indirectly through social media, through all the Twitter, all the clout chasers, all the videos. That's how you compete with WWE. You don't go directly with them. You don't talk about them.
I don't think AEW should go
not
full
that
throttle, because then Vince will wanna go.
What AEW doing now is good.
Yeah.
You have your fan base. You have your fan base. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
And we're excited for
Double or Nothing.
It's going to be a Bleacher Report in the States, and then Fight TV International.
Pay-per-view, $50, which is better than boxing, and better than UFC technically. Technically speaking. And
do
they
good.
chose a good weekend because there's no major fights on that weekend. It was supposed to be the Usyk fight, but obviously he's out, so there's no other major fight going on Saturday night.
No, but Devin Haney's fighting.
Showtime Friday night, right?
Devin Haney.
On the Zone?
Yeah, remember he took over.
Oh yeah, he took over. Yeah. Okay, but there's not like a big fight like I meant like that. So they're lucked out. It's a holiday weekend. Obviously, it's Vegas, so a lot of people travel to Vegas for the unofficial start of the summer. Yeah, overall Money in the Bank. I mean, I didn't care about the cruiserweights. Shane McMahon versus The Miz. That match was weird. He won because his shirt fell off. It was just weird. Money in the Bank was okay. It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was fun. It was great to see them back.
Yep. We'll see.
It was fun. It was entertaining. And the thing is, even if you like or hate how it ended, we're talking about it.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah.
So
I've talked to friends today.
All publicity is great publicity. Any publicity is good publicity. So it's great. We're talking about.
I talked to friends today.
Whether we're talking shit or not,
Absolutely correct. I told the
Why
friends.
are we talking about it?
Like you said, I got mixed reactions. I loved it. I hated it. It was all right. For me, it was okay. It was solid. Out of 5, I give it a 3.5. It was solid. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Money in the Bank considered kind of like a big 5 pay-per-view to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's probably considered like the 5th one, right?
Yeah, it has to be. Especially in this day and era with all these pay-per-views they have now, and these Saudi shows. But yeah, anything else you want to cover about this square circle?
No, just looking forward to
AEW. Yeah, so we'll see about that. And besides that, we had a couple more fights over the weekend. We had Saturday. We had a UFC fight up here in Niagara Falls, Rochester area, and we also had a boxing fight. But Danny Bums, you are the monitor. What do you want to go with first?
Really quickly, the World Boxing Super Series. They reached their final for
the Zone, right?
Yeah, for 140 pounds. It's gonna be the kid from New Orleans.
The
Regis Projes.
The Lil Wayne guy?
Yeah, versus Josh Taylor. I'm not sure if Josh Taylor is a Matchroom guy. I'm not sure. But Eddie keeps tweeting about it maybe. And they're going to be to unify, so they'll have 2 out of 4 belts. The winner of that. It's probably going to be sometime in July. And then, as we all know, the one of the best fighters in the world. I don't speak a lot about him. Naoya Inoue.
Japanese, correct?
He also reached the final of the bantamweights. I think it's like 115.
In boxing.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's reached the I'm sorry. So this is
back 140.
This is the final of the 140.
So is 140, is that junior welterweight? What is that? Or that's
junior welterweight.
Okay.
Or super lightweight.
Yeah, I was gonna say or super lightweight. Yeah, it's always confusing those two terms. Yeah.
Like that.
I'm gonna stick with junior welterweight.
Yeah. So
the 140.
And you know what's cool? The winner of this can fight Maurice Hooker, and Maurice Hooker, he's
He fought recently. When did he fight? I remember.
I forgot. He fought recently. He's Matchroom's guy, Eddie's guy. He has one of the belts at 140, and he's also, since he's Matchroom's the Zone. These guys, it's very easy to make that fight.
Okay.
And Regis might win. Regis is with Lou DiBella, and he works with
DiBella, one of the great promoters too.
Love Lou.
Yeah.
Lou's the man.
One of the great promoters.
And then we have the Japanese Phenom. He's fighting
115, right?
Yeah, he's considered one of the best in the world. He's 3-weight world class champion in 18 fights. Obviously, Lomo's done that like in 13 fights. But yeah, he says he wants to retire at 5-weight class, fight division weight class champion, and I believe he can do it. Just he has a big final coming up this summer.
It's like my weight.
Yeah, I mean the thing is with World Boxing Super Series, as great as it is, I only keep up with it when it's the finals. It's too many players, or sometimes players I don't know. So now I'm all zoned in for this. Can't wait.
The World Series of Fighting, is that all strictly on the Zone?
The U.S. broadcasters.
U.S. broadcast rights. Okay, because obviously they're in their countries, so they have different broadcast rights.
I think this was in Glasgow.
That's Swedish. Sweden.
Yeah. So that really quickly, that was great to see that. I'm looking forward to it because I got to see Regis. I hope hopefully he wins, becomes a unified champion 140, and I want to see the Japanese guy. Yeah, definitely.
Eventually.
Sure. He's really good, man. 140.
I remember. I saw that fight when Maurice Hooker. I remember that.
So then, real quick, across the pond, early in the day, Billy Joe Saunders became a 2-weight world champion after the WBO gifted him a title shot.
Middleweight champion, right? 160.
Super middleweight.
Super middleweight.
He fought
what?
Shafat Isufi, a German. Never heard of this guy. Like I said, WBO, like Eddie said it perfectly. They gifted him this.
So you mentioned that a couple of times. So can you elaborate on how it was gifted? Was it because of it to injury to the opponent, or what happened, or just
how did he ever deserve this fight? I mean, WBO. Okay, obviously he was champion for them at 160, so they probably liked him a lot, the organization.
Mm-hmm.
But he was supposed to defend his title against Demetrius. He got pulled for a banned substance, VADA.
And then he has some kind of violation, like with police or something like that, or something.
He has crazy troubles.
There you go. Legal troubles, right? Yeah.
Then he had this one jobber match in December because he hadn't fought in like over a year, so he needed a fight, and he destroyed some guy.
An Uber driver.
And then when Tyson jumped on the ESPN bag, went boom, since that's his boy.
British boys, right?
His gypsy boy.
He jumped ship too.
He did it, and on top of that, he basically, well, again, maybe because WBO still like him, he basically like said, "Oh, this is gonna be for the WBO Super Middleweight Championship," when Zurdo Ramirez hadn't even freaking vacated it yet.
Really?
So it was like, I mean, that was the idea.
Okay.
But it wasn't official.
All right.
So then, as the fight getting closer, WBO got scared and they said, "We'll make it for the interim." WBO.
Well, of course.
And like 2 weeks ago, Zurdo finally gave it up because he went up to 175. I don't know if you remember. A couple weeks ago, we spoke about it.
Okay, I mean,
and then WBO. Okay, fuck it, we'll make it the real thing.
So he just lucked out. He just really lucked out.
Yeah, I mean, I think also Eddie's upset because he really wanted to fight with Boo Boo Andrade. So that's why he's talking shit. But yeah, so congrats to Billy. But I mean,
he played his cards good.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, 160 is probably really tough for these guys to make. I remember when Canelo fought at 168 and he looked like a pit bull.
I had Rocky feeling.
He looked like that. He looked so complete.
Like
but yeah, so I can imagine the same for Billy. Billy, he shut him out, although he had some trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is his first fight at 168. We'll see how he does against the other champions.
Was he a game opponent, this guy? Or you say you never heard of him. Was he a game opponent, you think?
I don't even want to talk about that.
All right, fair enough.
Let's see what the other champions are. It's Anthony Durrell, Caleb Plant.
Who's fighting in July.
Yeah, he's fighting in the Thurman undercard.
And then Callum Smith. And then Canelo's obviously
Billy Joe.
Yeah, and Canelo's
Canelo's a sub-champ.
Sub-champ, yeah. Which in boxing, they still they still count that in boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consensus number one is Callum Smith because he also has the ring title, which is like a status, and he did win the WBO. He won the World Boxing Super Series a year ago for that division. He has one belt. But the second PBC decides to make Caleb Plant versus Anthony Durrell, and they have two belts, they hope that person will become the number one consensus.
And I think I've seen it. The ring belt is that little flimsy belt with the blue, white, red ribbon.
Yeah.
Okay, I always see.
It's the Ring magazine. Oscar De La Hoya brought that back.
It's like a participation trophy. I mean, I don't know. Why
is Roman Reigns here?
Wild card rule. I told you, bro.
What's wild?
So Fox and USA.
I'm like, wait, is it Tuesday?
So Fox and USA don't really want brand splits. They want ratings. So to encourage ratings, Vince has applied a wild card rule where top stars of each brand can be on both brands. This is just eliminate
the whole thing.
Yes, eliminate it. Combine together. That's all you gotta do.
I know what they're gonna do. Come Survivor Series, they'll unify all titles.
They should do that. I'm tired of
this. Wow.
It's easier for everybody, for us, for viewers.
That's gonna be great.
Hosts.
I cannot wait
for fans. That. You don't. Yeah, you just.
So yeah.
You have to.
So yeah, 168. Congrats, Billy Joe. No, but I mean, above all that, he's a really entertaining and funny guy.
Very charismatic
People like him and Adrian Broner, the sport needs. They're just freaking hilarious.
Charismatic guys. They can hold themselves, good on the mic.
Yeah, very good on the mic. Really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So that really quickly, and then let's jump over to the Octagon.
Ooh, from Rochester, New York, upstate, where
Sajara Eubanks finally decided.
She was a bantamweight, right?
Yeah, she went up to 130. Dang, she could barely make 125. She almost died.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that was like the biggest highlight I saw. Well, some of the fighters I saw.
Who fought? That kid from Rochester.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is the main event.
So I'll talk a little bit about this. So Kevin Lee, who was a contender at lightweight for a couple years, top 5 guy to say. He fought Tony Ferguson. He fought Tony Ferguson 17-5 now. Fought Tony Ferguson October 2017. Loss. Came
2017 was the biggest biggest year of his career.
Kevin
so
Lee.
far.
2018, he fought Barboza, which he should have lost. We can all
But
say that.
he ultimately he dominated him.
He did, what do you call it? He did
The stinky leg.
And then at the end of the year, he fought Reginald again for the second time and got
lost.
whooped.
Nah, he didn't get whooped. It was just a good fight, but he came up on the short end.
And Kevin Lee has mentioned before, and so not the first time, that, you know, he always wanted a 165 division because he's a big guy, so I'm sure to cut down 155 is hard. So
I feel like 170 is like
170 UFC.
is like the heaven for so many 55ers.
It is, especially when you get older.
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys are walking 180, 190, so you got to cut 10 pounds as opposed to
and then you have the people at 170 like Darren Till who 185 is their heaven.
Yeah, so it's a good weight class.
Look, that was Whitaker. Look at Whitaker.
Yeah,
he's undefeated in that middleweight.
And Luke Rockall's going up to 205 now for July fight.
Yeah, and then I think they're trying to make if he wins, I think they want him to fight John Jones.
Oh my God. You mentioned this the other day. Luke Rockall was 2015?
Yeah, it was this year.
What's this year? So Kevin Lee has alluded to going up. He wanted 165. Obviously, they know why he's not going to create a division 165. So he made his welterweight debut against,
legend.
a game opponent, veteran, a master of the game, 2-time division challenger, or a champion at 155, RDA. And RDA, I said it. He took a risk with this fight because he would have lost to an unranked opponent. Say he would have got knocked out or submitted or losing distance, but then he bums hit it around the spot. RDA, when he dominates, he's one of the most composed fighters in the octagon.
Not just that. Well, the thing is, this is definitely his weight division because the only 2 losses he has and went the distance.
Top guys too,
and is literally the former interim. The 2 guys are gonna fight him for the belt.
Yep. Colby Covington back in June last year.
And Colby fight was a closer fight than Usman. Obviously, Usman was fucking Usman.
Yeah.
He's
but
a freaking
level. And I mentioned about the RDA, even though he has those 2 losses, they were number 1 guys basically. They weren't to like number 7 guys or 8 guys. And RDA just said, "Hey, I'll fight again." He took the risk and he came out as a winner. I mean, he had more to lose than Kevin Lee, I think, in this match.
Yeah, and then
especially like I said, welterweight is so many
just
contenders.
Looks so composed.
You saw.
Thing is with Kevin Lee, he's so predictable. He's gonna go so hard the first 10 minutes of the fight.
He was shooting so much for his life.
If you can fend that off, that's why Al had so much success.
And you mentioned, and then I thought about it because I did see Ferguson Kevin Lee eventually. I saw his past 4 fights: Ferguson, Barboza, Yakunta, and right now. Like you mentioned it too, he gets gassed out. So I don't know if it's a conditioning issue or I'm not sure what it is.
But I feel like his gassing out is not as bad as Connor's.
Oh no,
that's really bad.
But one thing that I did see is that Kevin Lee was shooting for his life. He was acting like a wrestler.
I don't know about that. No, yeah.
Well, at least the attempts, because they weren't that successful.
Like Roman and Shane are cutting a promo.
Oh.
So yeah, yeah, I mean, I tweeted at what's next for both of them. Kevin Lee, 155, Bellator, I don't know.
Bellator's good.
Stay at 170, I don't know.
Who do you fight though at 170? Kevin Lee. I mean, like to a certain extent, welterweight's also kind of murderous role. You getting Robbie Lawler probably. I don't know.
Maybe at 155 he can fight Gaethje.
I like that fight.
Or maybe even. Nah, I don't think he deserves McGregor. I don't know.
I think Kevin Lee will stay 170 just because the weight cutting issue. Like you said, it's for him. It's hard. I guess
another thing though, like you know what I noticed, like he fought the number 3 guy ranked in the welterweight division.
Yeah.
Like there was no when RDA came up, he fought an unranked opponent. Then he fought Neil Magny. Then he fought Robbie Lawler.
Yeah. Well, the first guy he fought wasn't ranked, but he was a game opponent. Everyone knew who he was. But you're absolutely correct. Yeah, like he RDA worked for it. He really did get up there. He dominated Robbie Lawler. I remember that fight. Dominated him.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But like you mentioned, I don't know what's next for RDA in such a tight division. Obviously, Tyrone.
So much is going on.
Tyrone's out, obviously, so Robbie.
And Pettis and Diaz. Diaz is in the mix.
And that's the other thing. If Diaz wins, he's almost guaranteed a title shot just because he's Nate Diaz, basically. I mean, not to sound political or nepotism, but Nate Diaz wins. He's already okay. And Dana's sick mind.
You know what's a good fight for Kevin Lee? Wow, you ready? Wonder Boy.
I don't know. Wonder Boy took a risk with Pettis, who was unranked welterweight too. When he made welterweight.
Exactly.
You know, I want to see him. We spoke about it. I have not seen Santiago Ponzinibbio fight since last year.
I think he's
injured?
he's like in trouble with the UFC because they offered him a fight. He said no, and then they're kind of like I read
like on the shit list, probably.
Yeah, there you go.
That could happen. I mean, that could happen easily because he hasn't fought since last October, November. I think when they were in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
In his home country, and he dominated. I think Neil Magny. I forget who he fought.
Yeah, Neil Magny.
I think so. But yeah, I mean,
and we still have the Lawler fight, and we still have Tyron Wood too.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's a crazy division, just like the 155. It's a crazy division,
but then these fight nights, like I said, they've been a lot of top heavy. You know, these main cards have been very weak. These fighters, like I don't recognize a lot of fighters, not ranked opponents. The co-main event was some guy named Antonio Carlos Jr. Whatever his name was. It was an okay card to say the least.
Yeah,
wasn't anything big. We were honestly just waiting for the main event, and
yeah, and then RDA he just I can see his composure the whole fight.
You know when he's winning a fight.
And not just that, and I scored it the same. Like he was up on all cards. I think I had him up all rounds. I think.
And the choke he had at the end, the arc choke, really. Yeah.
And just that kid couldn't hack. I don't know what happens to the kid next. I like him in Wonder War. Boy, that's a good fight.
That's a good fight. Yeah, you're right. We'll see what happens.
So we'll see what happens.
Kevin Lee did say, and I'm summarizing, going back to the drawing board, seeing what's wrong. Like I said, me and Danny Bums think it's conditioning issues. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, probably that.
Because one of the last shoots, he stayed on the floor. He couldn't get up. He was hanging on.
That's what caused him to fight. He
was hanging. That's what.
When he failed that suit, he just
stayed on the floor. But yeah, anything else about UFC Fight Night? I mean, that was it.
That was pretty much it.
Congrats to Rashard Evans being inducted to the Modern Hall of Fame in UFC by his hometown Niagara Falls. But I think that's about it.
Yeah.
And I guess this makes sense because right as soon as that main event finished, maybe a few minutes after, the other main event started on Showtime PBC.
And that was the weighted return of America's heavyweight champion,
the WBC
Deontay
champion.
Wilder.
What's his nickname, by the way, Deontay Wilder?
The Bronze Bomber.
The Bronze Bomber. See, I forgot. Not the Bronx Bomber. The Bronze Bomber.
He finally fought his mandatory.
And Dominic Breazeale.
Dominic Breazeale for a while, and he's been his mandatory since that event happened.
Which event?
When they had their beef, which was back in his hometown, Tuscaloosa, or wherever he's from.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama?
Yeah, when he fought against Gerard Washington. Remember February 2017?
Yeah. I was like,
Dominic was the co-main event, and then after the fight, there was a big brawl, and that's where the beef stemmed.
So about 2 years.
And I think because of that, that's Mauricio made him the mandatory. Mauricio's a WBC guy.
Mm-hmm.
Mauricio Suleiman, he is the biggest clout chaser in terms of boxing making fights.
Okay.
He only when WBC orders a fight, it's because it's a big fight.
Oh, the most popular guy out there, right? Like you mentioned.
Like after that event happened, WBC says, "Okay, now you're down." He says, "Okay, now he's the mandatory."
So there's no consensus here to say like, "Oh, this guy won 3 in a row, but this guy
after the Tyson Fury Wilder."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're ordering automatic rematch. When Mikey vacated the title, it should have been the number 1, number 2 WBC rankings, which is Luke Campbell versus Devin Haney or some shit like that. But they said because they want Loma as their champ. They said the fight is between Loma and Campbell because they want Loma to have their belt.
Like you said, it's also money. What buys? Who's in the order?
That's the reason why. Going back to 2016, WBC. Remember when after Canelo beat Khan, they gave Canelo 2 weeks to start negotiations with Triple G.
Yes,
because they really wanted that fight.
At 160.
They stripped them.
Yeah. Yeah,
so that's the
strategy.
All right, so let's go. Forget that. Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. This was a fight that I thought would be a lot more competitive than it was, only because I knew Dom Breazeale was a really good fighter, and he also won 7 rounds with the consensus number 1 heavyweight in the world,
Anthony Joshua. And like I said, we almost missed the knockout.
Yeah, that's how fast it was. I've turned my head away, and then I looked, and the Dom Breazeale's body's on the floor. I'm like, oh shit.
And like Danny Bones mentioned, I think he told me they fought last year. It took Anthony Joshua 7 rounds.
2016.
2016, so three years ago. It took Anderson 3 rounds to knock out Dominic Breazeale, and 7 rounds, and it took Deontay Wilder 2 minutes 20 seconds to knock him out.
After I saw that fight, I said, holy shit, I think this guy can beat Joshua. Only because I always thought Joshua was the best because he's the most well-rounded. He can do everything.
But you know what I liked about the knockout?
The thing is, though, like, Deontay needs one punch, one clean right hand, and I promise you, AJ goes to sleep.
And that's what happened.
And I've seen AJ hit the canvas. You know against who? A 40-year-old Klitschko.
So back to you said the right hand. So it was the classic setup. He jabbed him. You saw the jab. He pushed him a little bit and then went for the cross, and
that was bad.
And listen, it sounds Dominic Breazeale was like a cartoon on the floor, like stretched out. And his eyeballs were like
No, Mojab had the really.
Mojab had a good video, honestly. Shout out to Mojab. But it was classic setup. He pushed the jab. You see, he pushed him away a little bit, and then he went for the cross, and that's all she wrote, folks. And then he got up towards the end, but the count already happened. He's like,
yeah.
I thought it was comical. He was just laying out with his hand out like this. I'm like, damn, bro, it's not a cartoon.
You can tell Showtime pushed
Luis Ortiz
to go in there because Showtime loves to do that. Showtime loves to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
they did that with Errol Spence. They made Danny Pacquiao go in the ring, and they asked him, "Do you want to fight?" And then Manny Pacquiao didn't really answer because why would you? Well, A, why would you fight Errol Spence? He was a fucking monster. Mm-hmm. And B, you can tell Showtime didn't do that.
Yeah. So,
and we all know that's always been the plan ever since Mike Coppinger revealed it a couple of weeks ago. The plan for Deontay Wilder in the fall and later this year is to rematch with Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, 50-year-old
and then
man.
I think after that, early next year, is the first fight will be against the Polish guy.
Yes, the one
Adam.
The undercard that was the
he fights out of Brooklyn.
Danny Garcia and Sean Porter. Okay, I like that. And
that's another reason I think why possibly still doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why Ortiz didn't fight Joshua after Big Baby fell out, because I think he was promised the Wilder fight, and I also think Al Heyman just didn't want him to do it.
See, but to
it's
me,
weird about then Al Heyman let Andy Ruiz fight Joshua because Andy Ruiz is PBC. He just signed with him.
Yeah, it's like,
so it's weird. I don't know.
I mean, if you
don't even try to guess it. Don't waste your time trying to beg for it. It's not gonna happen. The next fight for Deontay Wilder is gonna be
Ortiz sometime in the fall. So this is my thing, and you just mentioned it. I understand, especially boxing. It's controlled promoters. You want to safeguard your opponent, but you also want the most money. I understand it. So it's a balance. It's I guess I gotta give him a risk, but if Deontay wants to be considered the contender #1 overall heavyweight champion of the world, obviously he has 1 belt. AJ has 3.
Yeah, but I'm not. They said it. Like, they all know. Like, that's the fight to make.
Of course, everyone knows. Even non-boxing fans know this.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They even Shelly Finkel, which is Deontay's manager, and even Deontay said, "Don't worry, you're gonna see these fights." But they wanted to wait because that's the model that for some reason works with boxing. The longer you wait, the bigger these fights can make. This could end up being a $200 million fight with Joshua.
Jesus Christ, can I imagine this? So at the earliest, just up there. I mean, obviously it's boxing,
which will end up being the smarter move for Deontay because Deontay has offered a 3-fight deal with
Showtime, right?
With DAZN, $20 million for fight Breazeale, then $40 million to fight Joshua the first time, and then another $40 to fight him.
The rematch clause,
which will be $100. That's 3 fights
in about a year and a half, more or less.
Yeah, that's why I feel like maybe he might have done the right choice because now he can get all this money he's getting now for these with these 3 opponents, right?
What was the person with Dominic Breeze?
I have no idea. With these 3 fights, he'll get a lot of money, and then he'll get $100 million. That's more money.
Like I said, at that point it'll be 200, or yeah. I'm just guessing.
I guarantee you, when it gets to negotiations, Deontay Wilder's gonna want $100 million, and he's gonna get it.
Of course.
So in a way, I can't blame him for. Everyone thought he was a madman, but he's probably that's gonna be because obviously AJ is gonna want to get paid. That's gonna be a $200 million fight. Insane. Man.
So it goes back to saying in boxing, it's 2 options. You want to play it safe, but you also want longevity money. So how long can I hold this fight? How much more can I make? So, but it makes sense. It goes back to your theory about business and boxing. Like, why give the fans what they want now? Why not wait a year and a half, whatever the timetable is?
I think no, and I think boxing knows now better not to wait 6 years like they did with Mayweather.
Yeah, they learned.
That was But they know how to marinate it, you know. And
Absolutely.
I said that model works for them.
Absolutely does.
As annoying as it might be, it works for them.
Do you think that Deontay, 2 fights left now because he fought one already for the showtime? Do you think he will fight Big Baby Miller? Do you think that's in the realm possibility, or not at all?
It's like I said, it's laid out for him to fight.
Luis Ortiz in the fall. In
the Polish guy, and then after that, they'll either try negotiations with
I would like to see
ESPN
Big Miller
or DAZN.
3 fights. Yeah, I want to see him fight Big Baby Miller. I would like to see that.
He needs to rebuild his career, man.
Yeah, he took multiple L's in a week, man. You talk about taking an L. He took multiple L's. So let me also ask you. So you mentioned Luis Ortiz and his Polish guy. What other? And I'm trying to think. What other big heavyweights are there on PBC Showtime?
Andy Ruiz, but he's fighting AJ.
Maybe that's another opponent for him. If things don't work out.
If he looks really good against AJ, that's absolutely an opponent.
If things don't work out, you know, if he doesn't fight the Polish guy or
if AJ sleeps him, forget about it.
Yeah. Like I said, I guess boxing is also kind of like chess. Your moves are premeditated. Yeah. You got to think. You know, you got to think 3 steps ahead. But yeah, I mean, Deontay.
I feel like they're getting. I don't know who's getting. I feel like the only people that are getting paid in the zone. Freaking Canelo and AJ. That's it.
Because like big tough money,
yeah. These PBC guys, they're making money, man. I know for a fact.
How much? Like, give it just more or less.
Look at the plan they have with Deontay alone. Look at the plan that they have with Arrow. Yo, when they believe in someone, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
when you have Al Heyman in your corner,
you throw money at them, of course.
Come on.
Well, not according to your boy Brandon Shaw. He said on the Breakfast Club, he's like only certain guys make the big money. You know, UFC they make more.
Absolutely bullshit. Luis Ortiz made $500K against Deontay Wilder. That's more than
the Max Holloway, right?
Has ever made for fight purse, excluding
buys and merchant gear endorsement, whatever you want to call it. That's his purse.
Danny Garcia, I guarantee he made over $1 million in the last fight.
Easily.
Who has made that money? That's not a world title. You know, it's like, come on.
And UFC
without endorsements, come on.
And UFC screwed. Which I like Bellator, like they get paid Reebok, but they get paid like a stipend. It's not even like Bellator. They get paid money because of the endorsements. They make a lot. But I'm sure Bellator fighters make more than some UFC stars because of the endorsements. Besides their base salary and title defenses, whatever you want to call them. But I think Brandon Sharp was wrong on that point. But who knows? Maybe one day we'll have him on.
But yeah, like Canelo and Floyd,
the big dogs.
They make stupid money.
And I'm sure
Canelo makes $35 million a fight.
The purse is more higher now because it's streaming. Obviously, there's no buys. So we gotta pay you more, but there's no buys because it's all streaming now. Or I'm not sure if there's some kind of incentive with streams. I don't know what the deal is.
Maybe for example, Mikey Garcia and Danny Garcia. How amazing is that? Yeah,
it's at Staples Center. I think they said it's for a Fox pay-per-view. So I'm gonna assume that. So today came out.
Maybe PBC's the way. No, you know the thing is, I think whatever network whatever network has the best hold of the division you're in.
Of course, obviously correct.
Like the welterweight to 50
and 54, 147, 54
and 47, you have to go to PBC. If it comes to 160, you have to go to fucking
the zone. Yeah,
you know, shit like that.
And also, I mean. I'm more traditional. I like TV. I'd rather be on PBC because on TV. I mean, I don't mind streaming. Streaming is the future, obviously.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, it's we said a couple months. I'm like, nobody's gonna really be watching because that's not televised.
It's not.
Look
streaming.
Look at the. Remember, I told you, the plan for Porter and Spence is gonna be on Fox
pay-per-view. Right? Oh, no, regular TV. Yeah, regular Fox TV. Regular
the exposure, the big name that is Errol Spence, he did 400,000 pay-per-view buys in the last fight.
And I think that was Fox's first pay-per-view ever, I think. And that's pretty good. 400 is a solid number.
And you know how much Terrence Crawford did? 150.
Not even about
125, 150.
Yeah, there you go. So,
like...
Yeah,
the exposure. You're absolutely right. I mean, I'd rather be PSE because more people are gonna be watching.
And you have two you have two platforms. You have Showtime for the elite fighters, and then the Fox.
Well, I think it's more of your contract.
Yeah, I guess it depends. But think about it.
For example, I think Deontay and Gervonta, they're strictly Showtime. I think.
Well, I remember Deontay had that one fight on Fox once a couple years ago.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Now before he's bigger.
But I mean, think about it. You're on Fox. Everyone has access to Fox. You don't have cable or streaming services. But the exposure, Fox, is free. You're not paying nothing. Like you said, 100 million viewers on a Saturday primetime, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that's it for our daily rants, streaming and TV. Like I said,
Streaming, WWE, all that.
I mean, we got so many stream plans. We got Sling, we got The Zone, we got ESPN Plus, we got Netflix, we got Hulu, that's 6 streaming plans. I got Spotify at 7. We got 7 streaming plans together. HBO will go in a few weeks. About 10 streaming plans. Everything is streaming now. Everything's streaming. But I like traditional TV.
I don't know.
Hey, SmackDown's going to traditional TV. Fox 5.
So
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, but, man, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
At the turn of mid-year.
Yeah, basically, next week is a quiet weekend. The biggest thing is AEW, and then Austin travels on FS1 next Saturday night. If you're gonna watch that,
I'll probably watch that.
I'll be away. I'll be in Boston for a couple days.
Then AJ in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we got
what
AJ Takeover,
and what else?
and then there's something else. June 1st. And then the UFC, Anthony Smith versus Gustafsson.
Right. Okay.
All on 3 Saturdays.
Watch that.
And the Champions League, too. Champions League.
And the Champions League.
Yes, that's right.
Big
Saturday. It's from 1 to like 11. So it's 10 hours of TV there.
On the AG card, it has freaking Callum Smith.
Yes. Kobe Dante, right?
No. Katie Taylor for Undisputed.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, she's a big... Yeah, okay. So that's a big night.
And AJ, that deal, Eddie, he literally whipped out all his big cards.
Yeah, it's a big night.
His biggest 3 names.
We love TakeOver too, so it's gonna be great. And then
early
UFC card is in Europe that weekend.
Perfect.
So it's a good weekend. Perfect. All right, guys, I will let you go. Thank you guys for following us, subscribing us. Please email us at bumtalk1@gmail.com and follow us on Twitter at bumtalk_. I will try to upload episode tonight. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys. Bye.